Hello and welcome to BackTalk Ball. I am your host, Charly Arnolt. I am here to bring you a lighthearted and funny look at the very serious business of sports. Very serious. We do not have any fun in this guest bedroom. I mean, in this studio. We're going to get right down to business, starting with some breaking news from right down the street here in Indianapolis. That being that the UConn Lady Huskies will no longer be competing in the women's NCAA bracket. As of next year, they will be competing against the men because they are that damn good.
Girl power, equalization between the sexes.
They are the only team besides UCLA, the men's team that is, to have 11 titles to their name. And they're only the second women's collegiate team in history to win 4 in a row. They are ready to get down and dirty with the boys. So it was a unanimous decision made by the NCAA, and that will begin in 2017. Not only that, the analysts from each and every major network are already predicting UConn, the women, to win the men's NCAA championship next year. Speaking of championships, despite losing to Villanova in very dramatic fashion, it isn't all bad for UNC. In fact, they have a lot to be proud of. Michael Jordan was at their game. MJ was going through that same roller coaster of emotions that the Tar Heels on the court were. It went a little something like this. UNC's Marcus Page nailed a 3 to tie the game up at 74. His airness was thrilled, super excited, could barely contain himself. But the next thing you know, Villanova's Chris Jenkins skirted defenders to get the buzzer beater 3. And so the crying MJ meme lives on. Yep, the internet won this one, folks. Let's move on to the NBA. It's been clear for some time now that LeBron James is running the show in Cleveland. He does what he wants, and he says what he wants, and typically no one even tries to stop him. Recently, he's made a few more bad decisions than normal, some of them on social media, unfollowing all of the Cavs accounts, creating a little bit of a distraction there, and also making some very public comments about how he would like to be on a team with Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. Well, this hasn't really sat well with Tyronn Lue, the Cavaliers head coach, so according to ESPN, Lue took James aside a few weeks ago and had a few words for him. Basically told him that he needed to cut it out and get his head in the game. Tyronn, I knew you had it in you. I knew it. It only was a matter of time. No one really knows what Tyronn Lue said to LeBron James or how he said it, but just judging by Lue's demeanor on the court when LeBron is around, I have a feeling he was a little bit of a about it. It was a plea. Come on, help me out here, LeBron. You wanted me to be coach? Make me look good. If it were me who was talking to LeBron James, oh, I'm Italian, and if you know any Italian woman, you know what that means. Speaking of confrontations, it seems Jameis Winston's love of crab legs has begun to rub off on other parts of the nation. Check this out. There was a couple in Connecticut this past weekend who went to a buffet restaurant and got into a scuffle over crab legs that ended up in them being arrested. Here's how it happened. Latoya and Clifford Knight went to a buffet restaurant and there were crab legs, and they were confronted by a 21-year-old opponent, a very hungry opponent, might I add. All of them wanted the same crab legs. So what did Latoya and Clifford do? Well, naturally, they punched this 21-year-old man, knocked out one of his teeth, guaranteeing that not only would he not be in the mood to eat, that they would not have to fight over the remaining crab legs. That is an excellent strategy if you ask me. A little bit much, but they definitely got the job done. Unfortunately for Latoya and Clifford, they didn't get to eat the crab legs either because they were promptly taken to jail, where they later were released on bond. No word yet on whether they will be returning to the Royal Buffet in Connecticut anytime soon. Our last piece of news today, coming from the wild and the wonderful world of golf. The Masters are underway in Augusta, Georgia, and many of the top pros have their eyes on one U.S. amateur. His name is Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson is an NCAA champ, so he knows the key to being successful in big tournaments like the Masters is just to be comfortable. So to put himself more at ease, he has started naming his golf clubs. For example, his 60 wedge is nicknamed the King because Arnold Palmer won the Masters back in 1960. Also, his 6-iron is nicknamed Juniper because Juniper is the name of the 6th hole at Augusta National. So now, we are all left wondering, what in the world is DeChambeau going to nickname his balls? His golf balls. And now it's time for the sun and the shade. If you aren't familiar with this segment from last week, the sun represents all the things I'm very happy about at this point in time. The shade are the things that make me cringe. So let's start with the positive. A security guard's amazing reaction to seeing Villanova hit the game-winning buzzer beater shot against UNC on one of the monitors in the arena. Next, Peyton Manning, the GOAT, singing a Rocky Top at a karaoke bar in Nashville. As for the shade, Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna are engaged. Not hating. I am very excited for the bride and groom to be, but there is a little bit of a strange family dynamic going on here. Let me break it down for you. So Blac Chyna used to date and also had a baby with Tyga. Tyga is Kylie Jenner's current boyfriend. Kylie Jenner is Rob Kardashian's stepsister. So what this means is that when Rob and Blac Chyna do in fact get married, Tyga will not only be the baby's daddy, but if we're gonna get technical, which we are, he's also the baby's uncle. Let that soak in. That, my friends, is f***ed up. Oh, and still throwing shade at you, D'Angelo Russell. You know why. That's going to do it for this edition of BackTalk Ball. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back next Thursday with another brand new episode. But until then, go ahead, follow me on social media. I will see you next week.